Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. My name is Kelly, and I'm here to help you improve your design skills for your print-on-demand business so that you can make more sales and generate more income. If that is something that you're interested in, please hit like and subscribe and comment below your main reason for starting your print-on-demand journey. So in today's video, we are going to go over how you can create this design right here. Now I'm showing this on a t-shirt, but it does not have to go on a t-shirt. So it could go on something like a poster, probably would look really cool, or maybe a metal print, or even like a tote bag. So you can be as creative as you want with the products that you put these designs on. But this is sort of a splatter photo design that has some transparent text to it. I'm going to show you how you guys can go ahead and do that, and then how you can go ahead and reuse your frame once you've made it. It becomes very quick and easy to do. But the first video is going to take a little bit of time, so please be patient and stick around. So here we are on Canva's homepage, and we will be making a cool t-shirt design today. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a more complex video and a little bit longer, so stick around though, because it's worth it. So we're going to go ahead and start with a custom size, and I'm going to be selecting 4500 by 5400 pixels. That is the size recommended by Amazon Merch for t-shirts. It is the size that I use for pretty much all of my apparel, and it's the most versatile. I do like to optimize my designs typically for the darker shirts. You will know that black is the top selling shirt, followed shortly by either usually navy or heather gray, but then white typically. So anything that you optimize for black or white is usually pretty good. Black obviously does sell the most though. We are going to be making a cool splatter design here. It's going to be a sports design with some cool transparent writing. The hardest part about this design is just getting your splatter frame. Now, I've already made tons of splatter designs, so I already have a splatter frame saved that I can use over and over and over again. So it's really only time consuming the very first time that you do it. And if you've seen any of my videos in the past with splatter frames and you've saved yours, then you can just use that. But assuming you're starting from scratch, we're going to go ahead and make a nice splatter frame here to start with. So the easiest thing that you can do, I use my rulers and guides, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark out the area that I want for this. And so I'm just going to give myself just a little bit of some kind of border area around the side. So something like that. Let's say my frame is going to be around there. I'm going to start by hitting R on my keyboard. That's going to pull up a rectangle. And with this rectangle, I'm going to get the sort of middle part of this nice and solid. And so I'm going to have a nice solid image here in the middle of this area. And then from the side of the rectangle to where I've marked is going to be sort of for my splatter. And that is just going to give me almost like a gradient fade. Does not matter what color you use for the splatter. In fact, you can use every color of the rainbow because it's just going to be a frame that we're then going to put a clipping mask over. So I'm going to make it white so that it's easy to see, but it really, really doesn't matter. So now all we're going to do is start adding some splatters around the edges here. And what that's going to do is just give it sort of a rough edge, a little bit of a gradient here. So I'm going to go over to Elements. I'm going to do a search for splatter. And I can hit See All. And I'm going to start with something easy like the circle. The circles are always pretty easy to do. I'm going to shrink it down. And we're going to stick it around the edge here. Now I'm going to go ahead and make it a lighter color so it's easier for me to see. It doesn't have to be white, but let's say I do gray. And then I hit Control D. And you can see how if I just kind of move it over, I can get another look. I can hit Control D. And it's good to rotate it every so often. If I just hit Control D all the way across, which I could do, for example, you are going to end up with the same sort of splatter look going all the way across like this, and it's going to look very uniform. And you don't really want it to look uniform. The whole point is for it to sort of just have that random appearance to it. And so in order to get that sort of random appearance, we're going to use different splatters, maybe different sizes, and rotate just a little bit. So you don't have to do a lot. You can even use a lot of the same splatter just by rotating to different angles of this circle, I'm going to get sort of a different edge look. And I can go ahead and make different sizes of these too, so that some maybe have a little bit of a bigger splatter, some maybe a little bit finer. And so really the thing that takes the most time is just going ahead and going around all the edges just to give a different splattered look. But you can see how I'm going to do that. I am going to fast forward through this a little bit because you don't need to see me doing every single step of this. It can take a long time, but you get the idea here as I go. Okay, so I spent a few minutes, try not to spend too much time, but I spent a few minutes just putting different splatters around the edges. So each of these colors are different splatter patterns that I saw up here. And so there was a bunch of different colored ones that all had slightly different shapes and different splatters. So I went ahead and kind of just put those all around the edges so that I'd have a different rough edge. I did do some little like spray like this where you just get all the little dots, and I put a little spray around the edge just so I could get a little dotted pattern. And this is essentially just going to create one big splatter frame. Now, again, you can keep it all this color. It really doesn't matter. If you want everything to be more or less like the same color, I can take it, make it white, and change all to white and go through each color that way. Close enough. I changed enough of them to white so that you can kind of see what the splatter edge is going to look like. So it's just going to give me sort of a messy, splattery edge. Anyways, this is your frame. And so all we have to do, I can get rid of these lines here. It gave me a nice rectangle shape. I'm going to go ahead and group all this together so I don't lose any of those. You can see all those little squares are different splatters there. So I'm going to hit group, and now I have my splatter frame. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to title this here. I'm just going to put splatter frame. Now save this frame because you can reuse it for all sorts of designs going forward. So you can scale this out quite a bit, but just save the frame. That way you don't have to remake it every time. Once it's made once, you can just use that same frame over and over and over again. That is definitely the easiest way to do it. And of course, I made this sort of a rectangle. You could do it in a square, you could do it in a heart, you could do it in a circle or an oval. I mean, you can make a splatter frame in pretty much any overall shape that you want. I went ahead and just did rectangle, but again, you can be as creative as you want. We're going to go ahead, we're going to download this. It's going to be a transparent background. It's a PNG, and we will hit download. And now we have our splatter frame. Now I'm going to make a design today and a design for the next video, and they're both going to be using this splatter frame. And we're going to do slightly different things with each one. So for today's video, I'm thinking we will do a nice sports related one. And since at this very moment that I am filming it, the baseball like World Series is on, I'm going to go ahead and go with baseball. It's a good popular evergreen. And evergreens are great because they will sell year round. So let's just go with a baseball for our search here. Right now it's on graphics. I'm going to do photos, and we're just going to look for a cool baseball photo that we can use. And just for time's sake, I am going to go with this one right here. It looks pretty awesome. So I really like the way that that baseball looks. I think it's going to look really good for this design. So what we're going to do is we are going to fill the frame up with the baseball. Now, so we can see what we're doing, we're going to go over to the top where you got this little checkered box that says transparency. I'm going to bring the transparency down. That is going to allow me to put this where I want it in the frame and make sure that it's about the right size and everything. So I can bring it, back this way more. I can center it more. I can decide where I want it. I can decide how big or how little I want it to be, but it does need to cover the entire frame. So you don't want to have anything like this where part of the frame isn't covered. So we do have to make sure it is big enough that it covers the whole frame. And then we are going to just go ahead and stick that ball in there wherever we like. Once we have it in the spot that we want it, I am going to go ahead and get rid of the transparency here. And I'm going to change the title here. I'm going to put baseball mask. Okay. And we'll go down to download. This one is not going to be a transparent background. It's just as is PNG. Hit download. And that is going to be our mask. So from here, we can get rid of that. always leave the frame the same. So I want to keep the frame exactly where it is. That way, whenever I put a mask on it, I know where it's going to line up. So from this point forward, don't touch this page. Just go ahead and add another page. So you can just go to this click button and we can add page after page after page down here. And this is just going to always stay our splatter frame. And I'll just title it splatter frame from here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to Photopea. Now I use Photopea for all of my clipping masks. Now there's lots of different ways that you can do clipping masks. I find this to be the fastest, the easiest, the most convenient, and of course free, which is always good way. So that is the way that I am always going to do it. So if I go ahead and jump over to Photopea, and if you haven't used it before, literally just go to your browser, put photopea.com into your browser, and you will get this Photopea online photo editor, photopea.com. You can click that. It will pull up a page that looks more or less like this, and you click the middle button right here that says open from computer. That will pull up your downloads, and from there you can just go ahead and start by selecting your frame and give it a second. It will open up your frame, and your frame should be right here. So it'll say background layer, there's your frame. From here, we're going to put the mask on. So we'll go over to File at the top left-hand corner of the page. 3 spaces down, it'll say open in place. That's going to pull up your downloads again, and this time you're just going to select your mask and click open. Now it should put your mask right on top of the frame. So it should look like this. You should see the mask. You should not see anything behind it. Over here on your layers, you've got your mask and your frame below it. And then the mask should be the one that's highlighted. Assuming it looks like this, it should work just fine. But I know people have had a lot of trouble with this before. If, for example, I was to drag this up, now you see my frame is in front of my mask. Well, that's not going to work. I need to have my mask in front of my frame. So you should always make sure that your mask is at the top. That's going to put it in front of the frame. It also has to be the one that's selected. So right now it's selected, but let's say I had my background selected, it will not work. So if you're one of those people that's had problems, make sure you've got it looking like this. So your mask will be on top of the frame and the mask will be the one that's selected. And then from here, if you go up to the top where it says layer, about halfway down it says clipping mask. If you click that, it should automatically put that picture right inside that frame. And that is all you need Photopea for. It should really be just a couple clicks and you're done. Super fast and easy. From here, we just export it. So we go over to File. About halfway down, it'll say Export As, and you'll just select PNG. Now, it'll take a second, but it's going to pull up a little box here. Right there. Here's where you can retitle it if you want to. So I can put, baseball splatter, for example. And I can go ahead and hit save, and it should just automatically save it to your downloads. That's all you needed Photopea for, and you can jump right back over to Canva. So it really should be that fast, that easy, that quick, and that free for you, okay? You don't have to sign up, you don't have to log in, you don't have to anything. It should look just like what I showed you. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to upload what we just made. So we can go over to our upload section, hit upload files, and go ahead and just upload that splatter baseball. And so here we've got our splatter baseball. I put it on the second page here. Because this does have a very dark color in terms of the design, what we can do is change this background color here. So if I put it as white, now you can really see my splatter, right? So now I could do it. I could make that splatter nice and big. I can crop this down nice and tight too here around the splatter. So I got a nice tight crop, and I can make it as big as I want on the page. So something there looks pretty cool. And it actually works kind of well with this design because you can kind of see the way it splatters out. And so this is our main photo design now. Now I want to put some text over it, and I'm thinking about doing a really cool transparent text, but we're going to go with a classic niche that I know is really popular. It's been done a whole bunch of times, but it's going to be the one that says eat, sleep, baseball, repeat. So to do this, we are going to go ahead and hit T on the keyboard here. That's going to pull up our text box. I'm going to do this in all caps. I'm going to write eat, sleep, baseball, and then repeat. Perfect. And I'm going to make this nice and big, just like that. Now I also want this to be white, so it'll stand out. So we're going to go ahead and change that text color there to white. So perfect so far. And then what we want is a really bold font, something that's going to stand out good. So you can search bold, you can search narrow, any of those are going to do. I went ahead and went with one called Norwester. Oops. There it is, Norwester. And that is a nice, bold, and narrow font that I can use to make it look nice and big like that. I think I'm going to go ahead and bring the lines a little closer together so I can go up here where you see the spacing, which has the arrow that goes up and down, and I can take my line spacing and bring it in just a little bit. So I can play with that all I want so that I can then go ahead and center this here, so something like that. And then what I want to do is go ahead and get a little outline around this text so that it pops a little bit better. So we're going to go to Effects. I'm going to go to Outline. And I'm thinking about doing a reddish outline, something that's going to kind of match with the laces on the ball and everything, but maybe like more of a deep red. I can, again, always try to use my little eyedropper feature and see if I can pick a red off of the laces to see if I can match that a little bit better. And so anything like that might do. That's a little bit more orangey. And I can just sort of play here with that. I want something kind of dark, kind of deep, something there. I might even want the outline, I'm thinking maybe to be a little thicker so that it's easier to see. Something there-ish. I like that. And then what I want to do, I could leave it like this, that looks cool, but I actually thought we might try some transparency. So I can put some transparency in the words so that they almost disappear into the design. Obviously, if I made it all the way transparent, it would disappear into the design. But I can bring that transparency up so that it's just sort of really light in the design, and I can kind of decide how much I want it to pop. If I want it to be something that you don't see right away, you can make it really subtle. If you want it to be something that you can read a little bit better, you can, again, you know, come up or down on the transparency wherever you want. You could leave it solid. I think a little bit of transparency could look cool. It just depends on the design. You want it to be something that's easy enough to read, though, so if it's too transparent and you can't read it, you can go ahead and lessen that. So you can play with that to see how that's going to look. But there is the basic design: eat, sleep, baseball, repeat. And if I want to, I could always go ahead and make these top words a little bit bigger, because right now baseball is obviously a bigger word here. And I could go ahead and do the spacing and space those letters out just a smidge. That way there's not quite the big difference between these words and baseball. So I could do something like that, and that might look cool too. I could also, again, bring these all a little closer together. So if I really wanted to group it tightly, I could do it this way. And so you can sort of play with however you think that that is going to look best. At this point, it's just sort of your discretion, what you think looks good. But once you get it all the way that you want it and it is ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and title this page Eat, Sleep, Baseball, Repeat, Splatter. And it's ready to go. So from here I can go share, I can go download. It's a transparent background, it's a PNG. I only need page 2. I can hit done, download, and it is now ready to go on whatever it is I want to put it on, whether that's clothing or a bag or a pillow or whatever. And again, you can always make your splatter frame any size or shape that you want it to be. But really, the frame is what took the longest part. Once you've got your frame, it's pretty quick and easy to go ahead and throw a clipping mask and some text over it. So once you've got your frame, I can now reuse this frame over and over and over again. And so that's all I wanted to show you there. Next video we do, it's going to be, we're going to do a little bit more with the image once we get it on the frame. But for now, If you have any questions, go ahead and drop that in the comments section below. If you have any video requests, you can throw that in the comments section below too. I do read all of your comments. Thank you so much for the kind words. I am trying to grow this channel and create more of a community for you guys, so you guys can discuss and you know, come up with some good relevant topics that you need help with. So if you have any comments for me, throw that in the comments section below, or check out the links below this video. There is a Facebook page that you can go ahead and comment on as well. And other than that, I hope you guys are doing really well with your sales, and I do hope to see you guys again next time. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.